just a long lost look in your eyes. Brings out a love that I can't disguise. So take me down to the places I've never seen. Oh, don't you try to kill me with kind. It's just your love that's driving me wild. Oh, from the dawn we rise, with the heart we cry, to the light we go, into the light we go. From the darkest night, from the fire inside, into the light we go, into the light we go, to the light we go.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here taking a look at some highlights from game number 1. Things started off well for KSV, but did not end in quite the same manner.
These were definitely the better days for KSV, where their strong draft on paper was looking like it would come together. But then all the teleports started, and the first turret went to ROX Tigers really against expectation. Linderon got the longer lane to work with, and then moved bot lane, got a solo kill onto Q-Van. Still, we were waiting for KSV to kick into the next gear, but Paddle Stars and smart engages onto specifically Ruler, who was tied up in the wall that time. The Narvin combo used to its greatest effect. It's why sometimes you bait yourself getting excited about a draft, because in this game, it was all about the teleport usage and the macro play from ROX Tigers, but also the communication. Sungwon and Lava, Sungwon and Linderung felt like basically the top side of the map was in perfect synchronicity, I guess the word is, but in perfect sync, let's say. And that was all they needed to be, because whenever it came to moments like this, no hesitation, instant flash ultimate, Ruler out of the fight. Ruler can never pay off his smart early laning phase, and from there ended up being ROX Tigers in more comfortable fashion you could have ever guessed.
ROX playing to a very high skill level, I'd say. 3 members in particular, Lava, Sungwon, and Linderong, I think they all played their champions to about as well as you can play them in this one. Sungwon was getting the incredible engages. Linderong won his lane, got a solo kill, and had really good follow-up afterwards. Even at the end of this fight, not sure if we're going to get a look at it, but Lava hitting basically all of his skills as well. That was Linderong coming in from behind, by the way.
Linderong was fantastic this game on the Gnar. After going well in lane, was able to make things work in a fashion that was very impressive. So you get to look at the stats here. A lot of damage for Gnar in particular, but Zoe was hitting her Paddle Stars. Songyun and the bot lane were more of a non-factor, but there were some good taunt flashes. We wondered, could they make the Shen work? The answer was clearly yes, and in general, ROX Tigers, 33 minutes, closed this game out quickly, and KSV could never kick into the gear we expected from Pick and Ban.
Yeah, definitely some mistakes were made, as we mentioned before, by Ambition. He is going to be subbed out, as you guys did see earlier on. They really made ROX look fantastic, right? They made them look like one of the best aggressive teams we have in the LCK, which is not necessarily true. They looked like it in game number 1, especially this guy, Linderong, on fire on the Gnar.
Yeah, 1 solo kill. We saw that in the replay. In general, was in the right spot in his Gnar ultimate. 1 into the Cataclysm. That's a heads-up play. The other one coming in from the flank onto just terrain in the enemy base. He was on point. He really made the Gnar look super strong, and now moves his own Gnar record to 2-1 on the season. Not a pick he's been able to play with any regular sense. He's been on Vlad duty for the majority of the season. We may see him back on the Vlad as we pulled off some cool stuff there. But when he gets that kill, he really gets going to Sungwon, and that's been his improvement. This guy has really improved. 60% first blood percentage, I mentioned during the cast, is #1 in the league. And this wasn't even on the Kha'Zix that is ultra comfort for him. He had the Nidalee banned as well. Feels like you can't ban him out, and that's a great sign for ROX Tigers.
Yeah, Sungwon, as you mentioned, kind of the no-name from 2017, has become a name on the lips of many people here, or at least the people that are paying attention. This says, Songyun, please carry. And, well, he did a pretty good job on the Varus. I was making a little bit of fun of him for his 0-5 Varus record. It is now 1-5. He's got to win. Zoe also for Lava is now 1-3. Taking a look here once again, of course, Haru has come in for Ambition. This guy, if you are not acquainted with Haru, he's the Rengar player. Let's see if that's a targeted ban that ROX want to bring into Game 2.
He has played in 5 games, 4 victories, 4 MVPs. He has picked up MVP in every victory. He's certainly a nice guy to bring off the bench.
A good little sub to have, but behind your very stable and veteran jungler of Ambition. But let's see how it goes. I think pick ban for Game 2 should get very interesting.
So with ROX Tigers moving to the red side, something's going to have to be left open. There's a lot of must bans on red side, and there's also a must ban against Haru. That's going to be the Rengar. One of the things I want to track here is, are ROX Tigers going to be able to get a skirmishing advantage for their jungle? When Sungwon has the advantage in a 2v2, we always knew he was going to be on the front foot compared to Ambition, a farming jungler. But if he can also have the fighting advantage against Haru, that will really serve him well. As see some smile on the face of Haru. He has more aggressive picks he hasn't brought out in competitive play. These have been his 2 big picks. All of his MVPs have been 3 games on Rengar, 1 on Jax, both of them banned away. Like I said, 4 games, 4 wins, 4 MVPs for the side of Haru. Only a single loss on Sejuani. And Sejuani will be a blue side ban for KSV.
Well, we've seen what happens when you try to ban out one of these junglers that hasn't shown too many picks on display. It happened against Raze for Kongnu Monster, where they just banned him out, all of his engaged junglers, and he looked pretty useless in that game. ROX taking a page out of that book, trying to ban out Haru, the substitute that comes in, and they are going to finish up with a Rise ban here. KSV thinking about Zoe for Crown. They will lock that in for Game 2.
We'll be at the cost of Kalista, though. Kalista was the other big first pick that you would consider, and Gangplank certainly is a power pick as well. So pretty significant cost in denying away a champion for Lava. Doesn't have the Galio that I'm sure he'd love to run into it. That was a ban on the blue side for KSV. Will we just see Kalista and Gangplank taken in the first round on red side? Definitely very possible.
Even with the Klepto nerfs, you will be seeing Ezreal and Gangplank coming in. Gangplank this time is not banned. Was banned by ROX Tigers as the second ban on blue side. And what else will we see? Someone is going to pick up the Kazakhs.
And that's at the price of Kalista. So this is a pretty big reach for the Kazakhs in normal games, but not because we're in a game where we said, if Sungwon or Haru gets a skirmishing advantage, that could be massive for their side. So Kazakhs does win in most 1v1 jungle matchups, and they can't run Rengar versus Kazakhs here for KSV because of the Rengar ban. So we go through the last picks pretty quickly. It will be Jungle Camille coming out for KSV. That's going to be the choice that try to battle. Also has the ability to follow with the hook shot. And the Malzahar will be taken. So after some pretty significant Malzahar nerfs, he still can suppress people. You still can play through mid lane. Yeah. To me, if you're going to run Malzahar after the nerfs, it says, let's kill the Zoe at every opportunity come level 6.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's just so good against the Zoe. One of those counter picks we've been seeing more and more, even out of guys like Crown. The little minions, I forget what they're called, that come out of the Malzahar.
Voidlings, baby.
Yes. They block all of the spells, all the non-targeted spells out of Zoe, and of course the suppression you mentioned. You're just trying to lock down that one pick, win the mid lane. Mid laners nowadays, you kind of just farm up and you don't really see too many solo kills. You're just trying to outplay the enemy mid laner.
We'll see a lot of bans like we see on the red side. The Zyra Khan was one of the good news stories for KSV. It will be one of our premier duo lanes, so banning away one, usually enough to answer the threat of the duo, and the Varus ban as well. We're having a lot of AD carry bans. Songyun is one of our most comfort Kalista players, so we'll probably be taking a first pick on red side. I thought it'll be much earlier, but the draft has gone in different directions to try to guarantee KSV a strong jungling matchup. That's why you see Kalista taken up first. And will Ruler want to go back to the Ezreal? The answer is no. Very emphatically wants to go for the pushing lane. Tristana is going to be taken in the bot side, has a good 1v1 lane against the Kalista in terms of equal burst or burst in the early game. And the Taric to guarantee teamfights means that the initiation for KSV is situational. If the bubble doesn't hit, it's going to have to be two melee champions closing a lot of distance to engage. So ROX Tigers banning away the Xayah, stop the Rakan from being another primary engage for KSV.
Very true. Tristana so far 3-0 for Ruler. Taric 4-1 for Core JJ. A very high winning percentage bottom lane for KSV, trying to bring in a new answer for this bottom duo.
And I love the highlights we're showing here because Ruler was so aggressive when we saw him against MVP on the Tristana. Is that Ruler's Tristana, or was that the fact they were playing MVP? We'll get some information to that here. If KSV go down 2-0 to Kongnu Monster and ROX Tigers, who knows what to make of their title aspirations. They wanted to find themselves 6-1 and then just be joined by the winner of KT versus Kingzone tomorrow. That assignment has got a whole lot more tricky. And ROX Tigers, they're short on front line, but they certainly do have a lot of damage on the side of ROX Tigers.
That they do. Very curious about this jungle Camille for Haru. We've seen some members that you all should know about not doing too well on the jungle Camille, getting way too aggressive, just going all in and dying by himself. But we'll see if Haru can do a better job on that pick. He would have to expect it.
Certainly agree, Valdez. To me, it's about aggression. He wants to combat. He does not allow Songwon to run the game like he was able to in game one. So there's going to definitely be a lot more accountability here, as Haru is known for his aggression. If you're taking jungle Camille, you're going to max hook shot and get in there and try to mess some fools up. So a lot of aggression expected from the side of KSV, and that's what we expect when Haru comes in the lineup.
Haru, let's see if he can drag his team back up to a victory and force a game 3. I think there's a pretty good chance here. KSV, when they are shocked in game 1, generally try to turn it up for game number 2. But let's see how it does go down. The countdown is about to start here, guys. So let's jump into game number 2 for ROX Tigers versus KSV. Here we do go, game number 2. ROX looking to make a statement with this one, a very overwhelming victory in game number 1. If they could take another one in game 2, definitely raise some questions as to where the power level of both of these teams is right now.
The ROX were trending downwards until they surprised us by taking a game off KT. Didn't stop their trend downwards, of course, because they did lose the match overall, but it was a very impressive performance against KT after kind of being blown away by FLICKR and Kingzone before that. This is the end of their very difficult run of games where they had to face a lot of the strongest teams. This is definitely a spot they want to pick up another victory. When you look at the comp and you try to work out how this is going to come together, very high damage on ROX Tigers. From ahead, this comp will be very strong. From behind, it'll struggle, but let's talk about a bit more about what to expect. For me, ROX Tigers' strength is going to be in skirmishing, in the 2v2s. Kalista in lane, in the bot lane, Malzahar plus Kha'Zix, a deletion duo onto Crown. And Crown has already shown against Malzahar in the series against BBQ. He'll forego a QSS first item for something like a Lost Chapter and open up chances for the enemy jungler to influence the lane. So KSV from ahead, if they're going to be able to set up around Baron, get advanced vision, and have Taric tank it up with the tier, and keep everyone healthy, have a very strong comp that ROX will struggle to break. But again, it's just a standard Kha'Zix game where if the Kha'Zix gets going, if ROX can really win out in either of these solo lanes and get the turret early, they also have a great chance to close out the game.
Definitely a heavy amount of pressure onto Crown to perform well on this Zoe. We've seen him have trouble with dealing with pressure here in the Gangnam studio at times before. I remember a couple of famous games last year where he had his head in his hands after getting destroyed in game number 1. Didn't look too much better in game 2. Seems overall in 2018, although there haven't been very high-pressure game so far just yet for KSV, outside of their first matchup against Kingzone, where they did take the 2-0. He's been looking a bit more confident in my eyes, Papa.
I agree in general, but remember, again, the multiple Zoe games he played against BBQ. We saw the head in the hands again. This guy wears his emotions on his sleeve like very few players in Korea especially do. So he is an emotional player, at least outwardly, but tilting is not something we see from him. That's definitely a credit to his side. As we said, Haru picked the Camille to invade. We weren't joking.
Even against the Kazakhs, comes in and smites back after losing the smite fight on the big Raptor after invading once again. Bit of a scuffle down here in the bottom lane.
Haru won't commit to an all-in until he can hit his hook shot, because if he hits hook shot, he actually gets to get a full rotation. Both Qs usually will hit, compared to, say, one Kazakh's Q. He won't be able to get 2 rotations. On patch 8.2, Kazakh's got a small nerf. 0.2 AD from his passive and 0.1 added on to his Q means that in a lot of cases he'll be losing out a bit of bonus AD. But in the early game with low AD numbers, obviously not going to be the most relevant. So overall a nerf, but not a severe one to the Kazakhs.
Haru at level 3 trying to make stuff work down in the bottom lane. We were expecting more aggressive bottom lanes with the nerf to Relic Shield, but he was spotted on a ward.
We should also expect some teleport hijinks, Valdez, because I spy with Might Lie 3 unsealed spellbooks on the side of ROX, and kind of a small point I was mentioning towards the end of game 1 is that KSV looked very vulnerable to multiple spellbooks when BBQ out-rotated them and surprised them. And spellbook is something that you don't know until you hit the game. You can't just counter spellbook with spellbook. You have to anticipate it. And while they're giving up lane control, we see fleet footwork on Kalista. We see a lot of lethal tempo. This is only the second time, I believe, that we've actually had unsealed spellbook onto Kalista. They can end hard laning phases, and Nara versus GP, traditionally Nara favored, might not matter depending on the teleport timing from ROX. So when we see Sungwon, say, invading the blue side jungle, getting some advanced vision, then you can expect the teleport to be not too far to follow after that.
Yeah, there's certainly a very big threat in the Braum and Kalista TP at the same time maneuver. The Fade's call and all that great engage from the duo.
It also means you can get away with risky lane matchups. Sivir was the first one we saw on the first day of the season. Was Prey picking up the teleport on that to get better backs in difficult matchups. You can abuse timings, you can warp games, and you also force weird spots where Roller's going to take a back much earlier than expected, because otherwise he's going to opt into a really advantageous back from ROX Tigers, because it takes a lot less time to get to lane when you can just swap over to teleport. So you have to be bit more creative. Roller will go back, had BF Sword Gold already, so he's going to feel good about that, but didn't want to allow a tempo advantage to Songyun under any circumstances.
See CarJJ doing his best to hold that cannon for his Tristana. Might work out there, actually. It's pretty close. Didn't really get a look at that, but yeah, the only one who's got unsealed spellbook on the side of KSV is Crown, so definitely some teleport plays out of our Zoe player.
And with all those spellbooks comes all those damn stopwatches. In a line from the ROX Tigers, like the synergy there as a second item. Of course, it defaults to that position, so it's not actually a special thing. But on the side of KSV, 3 as well. So 8 stopwatches this game. Hold your applause till the end, Valdez.
I think the stopwatch goes in the first slot if you get minion dematerializer as well. But we haven't engaged. I'll hold that thought as one stopwatch will be used, but can he actually get away from this? The heal comes in. They're lacking some more engage. Going to cleanse as well. And he actually somehow gets away from 3 members with the hard engage in mid.
That's insane that he was able to dodge so much. They didn't overlap the CC perfectly, did the ROX Tigers. And the damn annoying little Zoe skips away. That was the chance that KSV and Crown in particular will always leave open. He refuses to go first item QSS at the cost of Lost Chapter for lane. We saw that bullied multiple times for BBQ. It didn't matter. Let's watch the replay to see what could have happened from ROX. The ult opens up. From there, you get in there and you think he's going to die. Watch the end of this. The Q does not register from Key. And that means they're able to walk away. Crown would have been slowed. The Q was available earlier, but they overlapped a bit too much, and the end result was they couldn't make the Zoe pay for what is a very offensive choice not going for QSS first against Mouse.
It looked like the Malzahar was not able to get his E down as well, which did take a significant amount of damage away from that. You would think with a Kha'Zix and Malzahar raining down on you that you would take enough damage as a Zoe, but not quite.
Yeah, Kha'Zix didn't have any longswords, so it was only the base damage of the Q. That particular scenario just went back now and bought 2. So wasn't the highest damage, and like you say, it's a good point. Every little bit of damage would have mattered in that scenario, and the Q went wide the other side. Less pilfering is the story with Kleptomancy. So basically the way it works is that everyone gets less in the first 15 minutes, and then ranged champions continue to get yet less after 15 minutes. So Ezreal in particular kind of has the lose-lose going on there, whereas Gangplank will probably still be fine. So GP taking Klepto, that's going to continue, but while Ezreal will likely still take Kleptomancy, it does seem like Ezreal priority is at an all-time low compared to 8.1.
That it is for JJ. We haven't seen too much aggression out of this bottom lane, but so far, Ruler with a nice little lead over Songyun, 11 CS. We also see that in the mid lane.
Yeah, highest CS in the game is Zoe, and has the QSS now from being able to stay in lane, not having to visit the death chamber, so big timing there for KSV. Speaking of timings, we're very close to the Quadra Teleport dream from ROX Tigers.
Will they make a big move? Will they have the option to go for a big move like they did in game 1?
Remember, there's also the option against this, because it's not like KSV don't know that there's 2 teleports on the bot lane, neither of which were used. They weren't used to get a better timing. They walk back to lane with teleport. It's very easy for ROX to force the fight, have the Hextech ultimatum and bot side, and there's no heals or exhaust or ignite. There's no combat summoners outside the escape flashes, so only one of those being available on Songyun. So a turret dive here would be even better than anything expected, and that's why Haru is in position. This is good from KSV. Why not attack the global? Remember, how did you beat Shen? He always enters your lane and ruins your day. Well, you gank the Shen, you gank the teleport. They tried to do that here, but they do have good tempo, given they pushed up earlier. So this should actually be KSV picking up the first turret.
Yep, KSV should be able to get it. It's 4 versus 4, or no, 5, or 3 rather, in the bottom lane, but obviously a lot less damage was done in the top lane, and they get it. Really
good move by KSV. They attack the teleport that was just completely telegraphed by ROX Tigers. They didn't teleport to lane and then teleport to top on their second teleport. They walk to lane with teleport. They attack it very smartly. KSV will have to give up the Rift Herald. That will be the bonus objective here, but taking first brick against the Quadra Teleport is still nothing to be sniffed at. If he's going to enter lane, unlikely there'll be a second turret, but they continue to push for it. Yeah. A second minion wave is crashing. Someone needs to respond here from the side of KSV.
They were a little bit slow to recall on the bottom lane, you'll notice. They pushed it in a couple of waves and finally left only Ruler down there, but it means the Rift Herald comes in for a very low Kha'Zix, but also that top tier 2 takes a bunch of unneeded damage.
You do wonder if we will be able to critique plays with and against double unsealed spellbook bot lane, as you used to see with especially the EULCS doing the picture-in-picture during the lane swap meta, because this is something that can definitely be refined. It's so new to competitive play, there hasn't been many data points of how to attack a team that goes into double teleport this early. So I really like how KSV played it out. It's not with ambition. Usually the person we talked to with Shockcoin, I imagine that was largely KoJJ and probably Haru also with his pathing. KSV were actually able to not trade down against all the globals, and that's something that should be rewarded in an evolving meta.
Yeah, we do have the same side effect as game number 1, where the Callista gets about 25 CS behind, so not the greatest feeling for the Callista or the 80 carry on your team when you do go for a maneuver like this.
But then you wonder, maybe in the future you give the Callista the solo gold on the turret take on the top side, start to answer the obvious scenario of losing out on lane minions by teleporting. They were also being zoned off turrets, so she wouldn't have been getting CS anyway. So it's always good to make a proactive play when you are going to have to give up minions. Yeah. Again, so much unexplored. That's when I get the most excited, is when there is so many different things to critique and learn from at the professional level. So with Unsealed Spellbook, likely to join us for at least a few more weeks here, Valdez. We'll be able to track those.
I think even if they do reduce the summoner cooldown that you do get from it, we should see still a bunch of unsealed spellbook. We were talking about this actually in the break. You were talking about how just the ability to change into the different spells is really the good part of taking unsealed spellbook.
It's the healthy part of the rune as well. If you think about the 25% CDR, it's so much hidden power that some people just take it and never change their summoners, and you're like, well, then it's not working as intended, right? It's supposed to be for creativity, as a million people show up bot side. But not going to be a gank here, so the creativity will still be rewarded. Still little things where you can say blow a heal early by an all-in pre-6, and then they won't have, you know, the 30-second period where they're still waiting for teleport to become available, so there'll still be more windows to punish in that scenario, but you still, as you say, will be able to make the cross-map play. So even on 8.3, when it's projected a lot of those changes to spellbook come in, there should be a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
The rotations are back. They were never really gone, but they're back in a different way.
Yeah, it's definitely nice. I mean, 8.1, it's 8.1 for a reason, right? As we get into more patches, we would expect the game to get more interesting, more fun with the changes. You know, Relic Shield line was a little bit too strong. It just created slower games. We had 94 minutes for Jin Air. Kind of makes sense. But then now the changes to that coming in and more aggressive bot lanes and people beginning to realize that you can do rotations like this. It's a bright future for the 8 series patches for League of Legends.
It's going to be around with us for a whole year, so thankfully it's not starting too far behind. I'd like to see a couple new runes. I feel like we're a bit short of rune options for everyone. As mid lane, nice bit of damage.
He landed that trouble bubble onto lava. It might be enough. Huge knockup, though, to get Crown out of the fight, but perfectly timed. That's going to be first blood with the paddle star. Seongwon coming in, looking for the kill, but it's not enough. He goes too far. And making his way into the mid lane now is Ruler, looking for the kill onto Key.
Oh.
Good stopwatch timing, but can he still get out of here? Looks like he will. Another good timing there to make his life saved, but not a great engage from ROX, and perfectly done by KSV.
Well, we see an evolution of the meme because it's Haru who's the one that KSV looks stronger playing around with. Linderong has to use his stopwatch. About 4 U's in the last couple of minutes. 1 teleports in mid lane. It's only Key. So he's only going to be able to buy a bit of time on this turret. It's going down.
Not enough time, it seems. As that does go down, Kive just quietly taking another turret up in the top lane, and all of a sudden, one play, a couple of mistakes, and KSV looking to pressure in this game.
In different metas, Ambition and Haru will bring you different things. Feels like a long time ago, but in spring, KSV, then Samsung Galaxy, looked a world better with Haru in the jungle. His aggression allowed Crown to also prosper. In a slower meta with Ardent Sensor, it made sense for Ambition to come in. This was beautiful, by the way, from Haru and Core JJ. He rode in with the Bastion and the Dazzle mid-flight. So they get the aggressive paddle style, Lava dies, but watch Haru on the back end as well. He has the hook shot back up. You max it first from the jungle, so you have the much lower cooldown. KSV pull this off better. No Ambition, no clue. Wait, Haru's dead.
Oh boy, getting caught here in the jungle now. They're looking for a kill onto Crown. They don't have the Nether Grasp that was used on Haru. Look at this though, trying to get onto Ruler, and someone gets in there on the back line. They finally take out Crown. Another 2 for 0, this time in favor of the ROX Tigers.
No context on that one, so we're unsure how the free invade happened, but Malzahar ult meant a couple of kills, and they're going to keep pushing. This turret was injured earlier. Now it's probably going to go down.
Well, so far I've been enjoying 8.2. A lot more action, a lot more rotations, and crazy stuff that happens like Lava and Seongwon invading together towards the blue. That might not just be 2 kills. It's that second tier 2 as well as the mid lane tier 1 that they're pushing onto.
So much vision around that blue side. We expected this to take turrets. Turret is down, but the vision still sticks. KSV gonna have to regroup. They're still up in gold. They still have a good farm lead in some areas, but re-engage.
Oh, they want Ruler here. They're going to get the double, triple knockup. Triple suppression after the Malzahar making a double kill over to Lava. Very aggressive, looking for the opportunities. ROX, they find another.
It's getting super bloody this game, and it means things like CS leads in 3 lanes don't matter because ROX is so proactive. They're so innovative. They were just hanging around, 2 control wards in the brush. Don't spot out Songyun, who engages. Second turret does roll down like we were expecting. And now the goal lead for ROX Tigers is there.
That it is. And this is the invade. They have vision here. You can see the ward.
And there's 2 members in mid lane, but there's no vision anywhere on any of the entrances, which means that Haru has a bit of a jump scare. It's like a horror movie for him as 2 members show up to assassinate him. They don't use the Malzahar ultimate onto Crown because he's the one with the QSS. So 2 members are dead. Even though 4 members of KSV were in the area, they didn't have the information to actually take any advantage. And the secondary kills, because they had vision of the River Brush, but not of Sungyun channeling the Fate's Call behind the brush. And 2 more kills and a turret roll in. Oh boy, ROX Tigers. So quickly are they turning around their season. Game 1, 2 days ago, it looked a disaster, but now 4 games later, they're really a competitor here in the LCK.
It's a lot of strategy coming in. As you were talking about, they watched BBQ try to use rotations and pull them apart with Unsealed Spellbook. They're like, hey, we could do that too. And so far, in Game 1 and Game 2, it has been very successful against KSV.
Skirmishes are where ROX do gain the most, and you'll notice Rylai is actually complete by Lava. It's a target acquisition build, less about burst until the Liandry's comes through. Liandry's will be more damage early. Rylai's for getting slows, and if that allows Songwon to jump in, or Sungyun, just get the Rens stacking, that will get them kills. So different build suits the scenario. They don't want to look for a true 5v5 just yet. The ROX Tigers, unless the Taric ultimate is down. So we start to regroup. We're at a 5v5 phase pre-20 minutes. Welcome 8.2, we appreciate you. It's been too long.
Oh, yes. This has been quite the entertainment so far.
For you, it's entertainment. For me, it's catharsis. I needed this, Valdez.
Yeah.
31st best of 3 of the season.
You finally get some fun, fast games. Lots to talk about here, obviously.
And it didn't even take Kingzone and KT Rolster.
There's even so much happening in the last minute, just the posturing in mid lane, and KSV getting control over the right side as ROX Party Bush. They're going to give over the second Mountain Drake, but it might not matter. They're going for Crown here. Cosmic Radiance comes down, and they go for a big engage. It does not work out.
Yeah, the clock was working against ROX Tigers a little bit there. You look at their team, and you're like, man, this team takes Baron fast. They have the Voidlings tank it up, and Kha'Zix and Kalista for damage and secure, respectively. But because it was just 1955, they didn't have to respect it. They have to respect this, though.
Going into Tanar, is it enough burst damage? The answer is no. Ruler trying to get on in there, and Songwon going really deep once again. He has stopwatch, but that might be the end of his life. Going a little bit too far. Going for the kill, and look at that flash forward from Crown. Styling on the Zoe here. Picks up another kill, almost gets a second. That's what KSV needed.
I mean, he knew the ranges really well there. Extended it with the flash, and it got the kill. We mentioned Baron. Guess who else has a good Baron team?
KSV?
Yeah. Nailed it, Valdez.
Yeah. The only other team on the Rift. That's going to be a fast one. Double Mountain makes it that much faster.
Oh, baby, we had so much action in this game. It's been a treat to watch. Here's the replay. If ROX makes the same play when KSV are trying to take a Drake at 22 minutes, KSV have to abandon the Drake because they're scared of the Baron going down. The bait doesn't work even after the Cosmic Radiance was blown earlier. Songwon gets too excited. KT Rolster fan right there. Went far too deep. Love the fact that he extended the range with the flash. It got the kill. It guaranteed the Baron. And the first 2 being Mountain made it damn fast.
You have to wonder, is this just ROX's style here up against KSV?
I hope
trying
so.
to play fast and furious against this team in particular? Or is this what we're going to be seeing every day out of 8.2? Because, I mean, it looks like a good fight up until someone flashed the wall and baited his team.
Let's not get greedy. We can't have this every game.
Well,
we're definitely going to have some slower ones. Jin Air hasn't played patch 8.2. They'll find a way to delay. But it's been a really fun one, trying to prey upon the tendencies of Ambition's KSV. And while they've also played upon the tendencies of Haru's KSV by just trying to make things a little bit more fast and frenetic around Vision. They weren't respecting the Vision game and were able to profit with 2 kills. Haru also has been able to pile in some damage. No kills, but 5 camps up and working his way towards Trinity Force and probably a Ravenous Hydra. He wants to be a burst machine, and the burst is on course.
Yeah. Someone picking up an early Duskblade really plays into their Party Bush, you know, hide from all the Vision play style so
pretty
far.
hard to Party Bush against Baron.
That it is. Not going to work out this time as they lose another turret down in the bottom lane. Looking for more. Going for this inhibitor. Well, Zoe not too good against Unbreakable. We've seen that before.
Wave clear not really there for ROX Tigers against Baron, though. So the chip damage is going to be insane. No one has wave clear against Baron at 22 minutes, though. So we're just watching this. Going to get a couple more minion waves. Still a minute 20 on the Baron buff for KSV.
It's a lot of good time. I mean, you could see the incredible wave push that KSV does have, and nice amount of poke, especially with the Zoe, Gnar, and Tristana, kind of the sub-pokers in the lineup.
Sub-pokers, you say?
Yeah, sub-pokers. Not the main ones.
Main pokers and sub-pokers? What about reserve pokers?
That's like the Taric on your lineup. He doesn't really do much. He's like, he adds to the sub-pokers by putting the dazzle on them.
What's the opposite of a poker?
I don't know. What is
committer?
A committer? No, I mean, pokers commit.
But this poke is non-committal because you don't actually have to get in there.
A diver, I guess.
Oh, there we go.
But both of them go in, you know?
In different
What
ways.
goes out?
I got nothing to say here
I don't
about
know.
this.
We're getting off course. It's a different kind of crazy in the Fast and Furious games. Redemption is fun. You have a Zoe in the game who kind of gets caught here in the front, getting very low, but the Cosmic Radiance saves his life. They're going to catch Ruler, though. That's going to be enough. They get the pick, and now the rest of them are totally just in abandoned ship mode. Let's see if the rest of them can get caught. Nobody does. Cuvée able to push up here, but that is a great pick for ROX.
Every time KSV have tried to play 4-1 with Cuvée in either game, if his teleport is down, ROX Tigers is going in, and they have a lot of initiation with the Fate's Call and the Malzahar altered during the Cosmic Radiance, knowing they had follow-up damage to kill him when that no longer was armed. So they get another turret to ROX Tigers. They are still in touching distance after the Baron. Haru's split pushing of all people. No Sheen or Trinity Force yet, but plenty of AD. If KSV keep trying to play the map, but doing it with players with no teleport or at inopportune times, ROX Tigers will make them pay. That is the minimum thing you can say from ROX. They are holding KSV accountable for all their decisions.
It's quite a nice composition from ROX because you consider they have all this pick, but they have the late game too with GP and Callista. It can be hard to land barrels, but not when you have all the CC. So crypt barrels onto literally anyone on the lineup of KSV as long as Cosmic Radiance is not there. A very key ability for keeping all the members of KSV alive.
The only place where they fall down a bit is if Baron control is there for KSV, which is to be expected. Very hard for them to face check. Only Braum can do that. Initiation onto anyone, and Crown was the anyone. Cosmic Radiance was perfectly channeled to stop Crown dying. But despite a second of the Malzahar ultimate being accounted for, they have so much follow-up damage, they're able to kill Ruler on the back end of that ultimate. So smart knowledge from Lava to use the ult. Even if it wasn't going to get full damage, it was going to cement a kill. Leandri soon for the old 3-item core for the Malzahar, which also makes sense with the AP ratios going down. Why not get a bit more burn damage and not focus on a high AP build? So a nice little adaptation for 8.2 Malzahar.
Another build we have to note is Rulers. No QSS just yet. Just 3 attack items. Still has his stopwatch unused. Just imagine if he's got QSS and can get out of the suppression.
I actually agree with no QSS because if you consider how fights should be fought by KSV, they have 3 people, two people especially, the Gnar and the Camille diving in. The Zoe will be poking aggressively, so needs a QSS. But there's such a front line, and they want to dive with Cosmic Radiance, that theoretically Ruler should never be in range of a Malzahar. There should be threats. Haru's Trinity Force jungler, like, he is definitely building for damage. So you don't need QSS if you're not expected to actually be in range of the Malzahar during a fight. But pulling that off when Cuvée doesn't have teleport in the top side, or if they don't have complete vision, it'll be impossible. So it's the sort of thing that a fan will look at and say, this is the incorrect move, you need QSS against Malzahar. But if KSV play the way they should, which is, like we're seeing, methodical, push forward, put down the vision, force a face check from ROX, and then pounce, QSS this early is unnecessary, and it's now a non-point because he was able to pick it up as a 4th item. So the 3-item damage core, then the QSS was the right move from KSV. They just kind of bungled the teleport.
Yeah. Also, it is Ruler, who is one of our most aggressive Tristana player. So if someone is going to get caught on the Tristana while going 3 core before QSS, it would be Ruler. It's forgivable. I mean, they're still ahead in this game, and they have all the Drakes in the game so far. So in a pretty good spot so far.
ROX trying to drag KSV upwards. They had 2 control wards in the area looking for a Malzahar pick, but annoyingly, Zoe can always confidently pop up and not be suppressed into position. Will always return if she's using the portal jump. Poke from Crown not registering, and notice he's low on mana, so
yeah.
No blue buff, and low mana means we will see Crown exit and KSV pull back again.
Voidlings are good. He would have got shot in the face with that one had he not had the Voidling ability, had his spell shield down. And here comes that TP from the Zoe.
He picked it up.
Yeah.
Still has the heal, in case you're wondering. He's got a free back, just Zoe thinks. Crown continues to poke, gets the shield off of Malzahar, not a trivial thing. The vision is now answered, and now we've swung wildly from ROX Tigers having all the options around Baron to now KSV having all the options, just by the ability for Crown to face check. So a lot happening there.
Okay, they're going for it. They want someone on the front line. They throw the Braum forward. They get the Cosmic Radiance, but Sungwon takes a bit of damage on the back foot.
Sick mind game. There was no teleport on Linderon. That's why they're trying to fight. They're trying to force QV's teleport.
They want it. There's no more Cosmic Radiance. The flash and the exhaust. They get the flash and all the summoners away from Crown.
And this is all to actually force QV to teleport, and then Linderon can go on the sideline with TP advantage, and they can once again be in a good position around Baron. So Fate's call for teleport was the trade they were looking for. Getting both the Crown summoners, not a bad trade either.
This is incredibly tense for both teams right now. We talked about how Double Mountain and KSV's composition, now with Infernal, they can get the Baron extremely fast. ROX, they are so scared about that. You can see how close they're playing to the Baron. They don't want to allow this to happen. They're going to regroup, try to come in here once again.
Haru could have earlier tried to clear out the blast cone, but left it open, hoping one person would face check, and then they could look for a kill with the Hextech ultimatum. Does mean the blast cone is up. It's something they'll want to clear.
Okay, they're looking for a pick here. Did not land the Dazzle onto Key. Had that landed, may have been a kill.
Zoe flashes. They're going to return on to the Baron. They have an immensely strong Baron. They take no damage because of Core JJ.
Spotted. Can they get in here in time? It's going to be up to someone. He cannot get it. Haru is going to get the smite right at the end. Good try by Sungwon. Very, very close, but not quite fast enough.
Yeah, the right call from KSV also. Their Baron team is insanely strong with Double Mountain and Infernal, confirming what they already had. They pick up that second objective. I saw 370 on the Baron, so was a potential for a crapshoot. It doesn't happen. We take a deep breath. We should also talk about itemization, because Sungyun has gone a bit off script here. He actually went for Rage Blade on the Kalista. It's usually a very greedy choice in the laning phase. Went for it a bit later, and now he's in a position to be able to do really big Ren sets. Feels like this is not the common build anymore. We see a lot of Kalistas go, if they go Spellbook, go Cleanse so they don't have to buy a QSS, and then from there go double lifesteal into the Bloodthirster. You will get extra lifesteal situationally from the Phantom hit on the Rage Blade, but this is a higher damage build. More damage, that's what ROX wants.
Looking for the engage here once again with Key out in the front, but Kive chunking him down and Lava getting way too low. They're looking for the engage. There it is! 4 members knocked into the wall. Kive doing it, and we're looking for a penta potentially on Ruler, but it really was all about the engage.
And the game's gonna end here.
Should do it. 4 members go down, 31 minutes in. KSV responding in huge fashion.
QV wanted an MVP, he just got one. For certain, this game will go to QV. What a play from him, what an engage. The game's over.
Had a bit of a setback in game number 1, getting solo killed by Linderong, but as you said it, the MVP of game number 2 will go to Kive, no doubt. That's going to be us going to a game number 3 tied up here between KSV and ROX.
QV sometimes baits us in with Maokai games, with passive games, and you forget he's a world champion. You forget on form. Oh boy, can he make the plays work. KSV with Haru just look better. No ambition, no clue was the meme around Worlds time. The one time they played Haru, they almost lost to 1907 Fenerbahce. This time around, though, with Haru, you have to say, no Haru, no clue seems to be the problem of KSV, his ability to stand up to aggressive junglers like Songwon and play the Camille, play the more aggressive side, means he's not as exploitable as Ambition. In this game, though, it was tense, but some good decisions around Baron. So the shot going around Baron, still there for KSV. And then one individual super play later, the game was over.
You can see the desperation by ROX, too. They wanted it engaged so badly. They're trying to Fate's Call from miles out, throw key in, and then get the Glacial Fissure, but it's just reaching a little bit too far. Lava takes a chunk, and that makes the ball go into retreat mode and line them up. Easy peasy like bowling pins for Cube. They get that 4-man ultimate. He did his job. KSV looked a lot better. The Fast and Furious style from ROX does not end in Game 2. We're going to get a replay of that last fight.
Now, people will say Zoe is undefeated this series, but remember that Gnar is too. Linderon got MVP in Game 1. Cuvée here. Oh, baby, what an ultimate. Beautiful stuff from him. Conceptualized the fight. And then the game was over. Double Infernal. So double Mountain, an Infernal, and a Baron buff meant the game was always going to end in this one passage, even though it was only 31 minutes. The game burst into life in an instant. ROX Tigers thought they'd come back. It's actually KSV that come back, and we're going to a Game 3.
This is a Game 3 that I definitely wanted to see because ROX, they showed up to play, as we said before. They even looked good in Game number 2 from behind, trying to pull it back, trying to capitalize on the mistakes of KSV. But KSV is the victor in Game 2. We're going to take a short break. We'll see you in a couple minutes.